All right, all right, all right.
Yeah, all right, all right, all right.
And we are good to go here.
Hey, man,
How you
what's
doing,
going
man?
on?
Hey, AA Ron.
Doing pretty well. How about yourself?
I am doing pretty good. Happy New Year,
Happy New Year to you too.
man. It's been a pretty rough year, man. This 2016 was no joke, no joke.
Yeah, starting from like day one, I think it was David Bowie or Alan Rickman?
January 10th, we lost David Bowie. January 14th, we lost Alan Rickman, and then it was kind of just pretty much downhill from there.
Yeah, the hits kept coming.
It was a gnarly year. It was a gnarly year. A lot of things happen. I mean, good things happen as well, but a lot of them are overshadowed by the bad things. Britain lost his mind, and then everyone in America was laughing at said Britain because of losing their mind. And I was saying
And
at the
then
time, I was saying at the time, Britain. I was saying at the time, don't laugh at Britain, don't laugh at Britain. And 4 months later, everyone's laughing at us. I don't. I mean,
Ugo, do you remember the time at the beginning of the year when the worst thing that happened was a gorilla died?
I know it.
And we thought, how can it get worse from here?
It just what here's the thing. You say it was the worst thing that happened was when a gorilla died, but I feel as a black male that this gorilla dying had more run than all the other black dudes getting shot. It's kind of like there were no dicks
Now,
out for Trayvon Martin or Brown. There were no dicks out, but a gorilla who I will say did unjustly kind of get shot. But there were no dicks out for anybody else. You know,
would you really want dicks out for like Trayvon Martin or
I
Michael
just
Brown or something?
no. But the thing is, it's just remember, you got to remember with Harambe. Harambe happened. People are upset. Then people kind of cooled down. Then for some reason it came back out of nowhere. Because I remember it cooled down for like a week or two, and then it just came back with full force, and we just never saw the end of it.
It's memes. I feel like meme culture just dictates our rhetoric
And I feel,
nowadays.
I honestly, I feel last year was like the year of the meme. It really was. Because
Yeah,
we had memes before, back and forth, haha, funny. But last year, man, they had that. Had Arthur. Those Arthur memes were fire. Oh,
man,
man.
there was so many good memes last year. Pepe made a political statement. We found
Jesus.
out Pepe is a racist.
Yeah, Pepe's a racist now. Holy sh! Pepe's green. How could
I
Pepe
think,
be racist if he's green? And then he
I
was,
think Pepe made Man of the Year. To be
oh,
honest,
jeez, it was insane. And then, and we're just talking about a gorilla and memes. We're talking about the most trivial shit ever. We're not talking
and
about geopolitical moves that happened all last year.
oh, jeez.
How basically idiocracy went from a warning to a documentary to now it might be in about 20 years it might be a history piece because I don't know, like honestly at this point President Camacho seems like it might be a better idea than what we might be looking forward to.
And what's funny is I don't even know if this is funny. Is it before it was anything? It was seen as a joke, and that joke has become our reality.
That's what it was because we conditioned ourselves to be the joke. Because how many fucking times has Donald Trump said, I'm going to run for president? And we're like, yeah, whatever. He doesn't even sign up and we're done. And we just keep moving on with the election cycle. But this time, apparently someone, because what happens is you keep saying like, I'm gonna run for president. And he says it, but the thing is you have to fill out paperwork to do it. And he never filled out the paperwork.
Did he not?
No, that's what happens every time Donald Trump says, I'm going to run for president. And then they're like, oh, yeah, whatever, Donald, fill out the paperwork then. He's like, I got business stuff to do. And he never does it. It wasn't until like 2 years ago that he finally filled out the paperwork. And people were like, yeah, whatever, I guess we'll just make this more interesting because, we're anointing Hillary Clinton right now. And then all the other candidates came out. And then they started dropping out. And then it just kind of started getting scarier and scarier. And when it got to the point where he was like one of the top 3 candidates, you're like, all right, joke's over now. It's not funny. It's not funny anymore. And then the Republican convention came. And the sad part is the Republican Party itself was all like, God, this guy sucks. But people like him and we want to be in power.
Oh my god! And like who? that's my question. I get so upset when I find out that people I care about actually do like him, because I mean there's very very little to like, I think.
I just I okay. I'll look. I will say this. I will say this. Right
Hmm.
now, regardless of how or where he got the money from, okay, he has used the money whatever he got it. They said he borrowed $1 million from his dad, whatever, and grew it into a multi-billion-dollar empire. All right, I got to give him credit for that. I don't know how he did, no matter how he did it, whatever. He turned it into something. Right. After that, I don't know. Like after that, to say he's presidential material is just laughable, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I don't like I understand how he got elected president, and I understand how that happened, but the reason I feel the reason that happened was because for 8 years they're like a lot of people felt like things weren't going well for them. Like there was a lot of, and a majority of them, unfortunately, were uncollege educated white males, and weirdly, college educated white females felt like things weren't going their way and they needed a change of some type. Now, we all know any change is not good change, but unfortunately, they felt that any change is good change, and hence why they made this change. And it's just it's weird, and it's sad, and it's scary because
Well, the,
let's
the the thing is, when you say it's weird, like when you think about it, you hit it right on the head. It was people who were looking for a change, and as we know from experience, that's not weird, because Obama's main campaign thing was change. So
yes.
you end up having the same people who voted for Obama in the previous elections are really against the establishment and did not want to vote for Hillary Clinton. I'm pretty sure, looking at the numbers, it wasn't so much that that Republicans voted for Trump. It was just Democrats who normally voted for Clinton didn't go out there and vote. Like traditionally Democratic areas, like they didn't feel the necessity to go out and vote for Clinton. Democrats didn't have their usual voters. So like it was the same crowd of people that believed in Obama, didn't believe in Hillary Clinton, and that's where they lost it.
And I understand that, and I get why they wouldn't. But
Right.
I honestly, it came to a point which is really sad, and it shouldn't come to this point. But it came to the point where you literally did have to vote for the lesser of two evils.
Exactly.
You
Now,
did. You did. It sucks. You don't want to tell someone vote. What do you want to get stabbed in the stomach or shot in the head? I understand that. But
personally, I feel like, now this is just my personal opinion, and I
yes,
feel like it's unpopular, but like Hillary Clinton, to me, I felt was vastly, almost overqualified for the position compared to all her other peers. Like it wasn't much voting for the lesser of two evils. Like I understand that she was like really unlikable.
mm-hmm,
Like I just thought she would have done a great job, just
mm-hmm.
as jobs are concerned.
Yeah, yeah.
And like and nowadays people really think that's an unpopular opinion, and I was
That
just
she
like,
was overqualified.
no, that she was more qualified for the position. I don't want to say the term
Okay,
overqualified.
yeah. How
It,
how was that how is that divisive now that she was more qualified for the position? Isn't that a good thing?
yeah, I think so, but a lot of people just get really just
Or is it like one of those things where you apply for a job and they're like, we need you to have a degree in this and 3 years of experience. It's like, well, I'm straight out of college. I need the job for that said experience. But so we can't hire you. So how do I get experience? Get a job in this field. Well, I'm trying to do that right now, but you're and that vicious, horrible cycle of we need experience. Let me get experience. We're not gonna hire you. Why? You have no experience. What?
oh Jesus.
Yeah, so it might be one of those, and I didn't want to veer off into a whole political thing, but it's just like I said, this is a free form kind of thing. Oh, and also, welcome everyone to the What If podcast. We kind of went in there. This is my co-host here, Aaron, for this week. Aaron,
Hello.
introduce yourself to the people. Tell little the people about yourself.
Hi, my name is Aaron Varghese. I am about to start going back into law school starting 2017. Got tired of the whole uh, not having a job thing. So,
That gets annoying real quick, doesn't it?
yeah. So I was like, all right, time to go back to school. I'm a graduate of Baylor University. I've been friends with Hugo.
Ooh, Baylor, huh? Well, it's been a few rough years, huh?
Oh, well, what do you mean?
Baylor?
Are you talking about like the whole rape stuff?
Yeah, well, yeah, kind of, maybe.
Yeah, it's so annoying that like now it used to be like as soon as I got out of college, people were like, "Oh, Baylor,
Yeah.
cool," and then like
That's like, oh, Baylor.
I was like, this shit is reflecting on me poorly because people can't get their shit together.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because my cousin, he's going to Baylor College of Medicine right now, and he graduated from Baylor University, and he's kind of like the same thing. It's like, yeah, man, it's just when I was there, I wasn't doing any of that, but apparently it was rampant.
I have raped nobody. Just saying.
Thank you, Aaron, for putting that on the record on the What If podcast. That Aaron Varghese has raped no one.
No one has been raped by me.
Oh, good. Yeah,
my audience members.
I'm glad. That's on the record. I'm glad it's on the record. Good job. So you're going back to law school, man. So have you taken the LSAT and all that good stuff, or just
all that stuff is good to go. I start in like a week, so it's gonna
Jesus
be weird for me. I haven't been to school in a couple of years, so.
What school are you going to?
South Texas. It's in downtown Houston.
Oh, okay. All right. You're not going to Thurgood Marshall, the HBC.
No, I didn't even apply there.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I applied to U of H and South Texas.
Okay.
So I was like, I'm bound to get into one of them.
Fuck it, I'll get into one of them. I remember this shit when I was like applying to medical school, and I applied to, because I was a part of this program where like in college, once you get to the program and you have like a minimum required grades, you get into one of the med schools in Texas. Like one of them had to take you. And I remember, I remember we toured around Texas, doing the interviews and all that. And I had to rank my med schools, and I sent them in. And I was like, well, clearly I'm gonna get top 3, at worst. I got like my number 5th pick, dude. It was odd, but I kind of know why, because during the summers, the program you had to go to the colleges to do like a summer program, like extra classes and stuff like that, right? And it just so happened that the summer before we had like applied for medical school, like it seemed like everyone that went to the school the summer before they applied got to their schools. And I went to the school in Fort Worth, TCOM, Texas College of Osteopathic Medicine, and got matched there. And a lot of people who went to like U of H and Baylor and stuff like that, they got matched to those schools as well. So I think it was one of those like, oh, we saw you recently, yeah, come to our school.
So are you still in school, or are you a full-fledged doctor now?
No, fuck no. I went 2.5 years in, and I was like, it's a lot of tests, and I don't like these tests, and boo. So I kind of left.
Dude, that 100% makes sense.
And it doesn't stop. My sister, who turned 36 yesterday, is about to take a test next week. 36!
My aunt, who's in her 40s, is still taking tests.
No!
Doctor.
No! And when I realized that, I was like, oh, if I get past these first years of medical school, the rest of it will be like practical stuff, right? And they're like, no, the tests never stop. I'm like, what? I just, because honestly, I'm not a good test taker. I'm just not. We're just a family. We're not a good family of test takers. We just have trouble taking standardized tests. Now, when it comes to like practical stuff and puzzle solving, when it comes to like, oh, this patient has this, I'm great at that. Unfortunately, that's the third and fourth part of medical school and not the first 2 parts. So you have to get past the first 2 parts. I wasn't getting past those first 2 parts. I was just like, well, okay, I better, figure it out or skedaddle on the road. So, I left medical school. I got my MBA though. I got an MBA, so I'm doing that. You go. Yeah. And now I'm trying to, making the moving pictures and the talkies. What the kids are calling them now, the talkies. Yeah, it's gonna be huge, Eric. Huge.
Dude, I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for you 100%.
No, I mean, we'll see. We'll see how that goes and see what happens. But I'm gonna do what I do. Do what I do. So at least you get to stay in Houston, and I'm guessing you get to save money staying where you're staying, right?
Yes, absolutely. That was the main idea. I was like, I don't want to go. So like Baylor obviously was super expensive,
Yeah.
so I'm like boatloads in debt from there. So I was
Yeah, I
like,
feel you on that one.
I don't want to be driving up myself through incredible amounts of debt doing law school. So I'm that's why I only applied to 2 schools. I'm like, I'm trying to spend the least amount of money to get the best possible results.
And those application fees are a bitch too.
Right?
Holy shit, dude! Seriously, like you'll spend like $300 to apply to a school that you know you're not going to get into. You're like, really?
Yeah, I was like, no, I'm not doing it. Like, even if I did, so say if I got into a school like, say, Harvard, which I didn't apply there, by the way.
Yeah. Okay.
If I got into a school like that, I still probably wouldn't go, just because like living in Boston would be fucking expensive,
Oh, dude, yeah.
and
Yeah.
then B, it's fucking cold, man.
Yeah, you can't, man. You and me both, man. I can't do the cold. I can't do it. Won't do it. Can't do it. Can't teach
Like,
them.
out of a couple years ago, I was thinking about moving up to Boston, and I was gonna look up there for jobs. And that year, there was this new concept. It was called a polar vortex. Have you ever heard of a
yeah,
polar?
that's right. I remember that when that big blizzard happened. It is like, wasn't it sort of like the day after tomorrow, where like everything freezes in the center?
Exactly. I looked at that. That was exactly what I thought. I was like, dude, I've seen this before in a movie, and it didn't end well for them.
That's so fucked up, though. Like, nature's all like, oh, you know hurricanes? You know how the eye of the hurricane is calm? Yeah, I have the same thing with ice, except it's the opposite, where everything inside freezes, and if you get caught in it, you're fucked. You're like, why, nature, why?
Yeah, it's like nothing about that sounds believable. Like that sounds terrible.
Dude. And then
I'm
you
not
gotta,
going to Boston.
and then you gotta mess with Southies and shit, and just like, oh, that would just be a thing. And trust me, coming from Texas, they're like, oh, you're from Texas, huh? Hey, you just ride a horse and blah blah blah. You're like, oh, guys,
Yeah.
come on. Really?
I feel like people outside of Texas just don't understand.
Oh no. Oh no. Thank you, Dallas. A lot of westerns. And just stuff like that. And just,
Hey, to be honest, what I found out though is people inside Texas don't really care too much about what's going on outside.
oh god,
Like,
no.
If I asked you right now, hey man, where is Tennessee? Would you be able to tell me?
They're Yankees. I don't.
Exactly.
It's north of us, I guess. I don't just somewhere around there.
Somewhere up there. It's
Yeah,
just
so
Texas.
the state that stole the Oilers. That's what I know. Yeah. That's what Tennessee is. Oh man. Speaking of, I guess the Texans begrudgingly made the playoffs. It's like I've never in my life seen a city so disappointed in a winning team ever.
Why? I don't pay much attention to football. Why is everybody disappointed?
It's weird. It's like the team is like at this point the team is 9-7. They won the AFC South, which winning the AFC South is like being the tallest of midgets. It's not a really big accomplishment. But like you see the team and they just okay, the whole reason why it's weird is because, you know, in the offseason, the team spent $72 million, $32 million guaranteed. That's a key number, $32 million, on a guy named Brock Osweiler. He won a Super Bowl as a backup in Denver. So we thought, hey, this guy, he looks like he's got the stuff. And we brought him here.
Right?
And we brought him here. Statistically, he has been one of the worst rated quarterbacks in NFL history.
Oh, man, he's the new quarterback?
Not the season, not like in this decade, history.
Jesus.
Since they had the pigskin and played for money, he's been statistically, or I guess quarterback rating, the worst, right?
Like the worst just on the Texans, or did they know about him, like, sucking before that?
Well, here's the thing there, buddy. Last year, he played on the Broncos, the same team with Peyton Manning. And Peyton Manning went down, or Peyton Manning was having bad games, so he played. And he went like 5-2 when he was there. So you're like, oh, he went 5-2. He's on a Super Bowl winning team. He's been behind Peyton Manning for like 2 years. Clearly, he learned something, right? Well, apparently, the one thing he didn't learn was accuracy.
Oh God.
Because man, it's bad. So, anyways, about 2 weeks ago, the team is like, even though the team is struggling, they still somehow are leading the AFC South. That's how bad the AFC South is. That like, the team is not that good, but still somehow they're leading the AFC South. So they do that like one of like 2-3 plays into the game, he throws an interception. And then we get the ball back, and the very next play, he throws another interception.
Oh.
And the coach is all like, nope, no, not happening, no. Pulls him for the backup. The backup rallies the team, wins the game. And
What's the backup's name?
The backup, Tom Savage.
Oh man, what a great name!
It's an awesome name. I want him to be good.
That's so fitting.
Solely so they can play Macho Man when he gets on the field and be Macho Man Savage. Oh, but I want him to be good.
Yeah, man. So is he like the hero now?
So he didn't lose the game for us. So he's all right. And then what happened last week in a game that meant nothing? Concussion.
No.
So this week, in a playoff game against the Raiders, who have a whole shit ton of problems of their own, are coming to NRG Stadium in Houston on Saturday. So that's what I'll be watching. Honestly, at this point, I don't even know who's going to win because they're on their third string quarterback, and we're on a quarterback that clearly is not that good. So I don't know.
Well, at least we're in the playoffs, right? That's good.
Yeah, but like being in the playoffs, great. But you know how if you're from a small school and you're really good and no one else is good, and then you go like to the division or whatever, and these guys are really good and a lot more people are watching, you really don't want to get embarrassed with all those people. I feel like let's
not show off how bad we are.
Exactly. I feel like that's what's gonna happen when the Texans get some, because let's say they beat the Raiders, who third string quarterback, I don't blame them. Third string, I don't blame them. But honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they beat the Texans. But let's say the Texans win.
It's like
yeah.
It's like, oh no, I suck, and now everybody knows it.
Yeah. Guess who we're going to play after the Texans? And you don't follow sports, but I know you'll know this. We'd probably have to go to Foxborough and play the Patriots.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I don't watch football, but I know those guys are badasses.
Yeah, exactly. and let's not forget, the Texans have been there before, only score about 3 points to get me like 38-3. Not by Tom Brady, who will be playing, but by another third string rookie quarterback.
Oh man.
Making his first start ever, just lit up the Texans.
What was the score?
I think it was like 38-3 or something. It was awful. It was bad.
That's heartbreaking.
It really is. And it's
like, living in Houston, I think there's only been 2 years where Houston like sports were good.
Yeah.
And I moved to California like back in 2014, and the Giants and the Warriors won the championship.
Oh, you moved to the Bay Area?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck the Bay Area. Beautiful place, but
it's
just
so nice to be part of a winning city for
I know,
once.
right? It feels good. It feels good, doesn't it? It feels good. I remember when I was like in 4th grade when the Rockets won 94. It felt good. It felt good to be a winner.
What happened?
Like, I remember me and Corey G, when we went to the double toasted Christmas party or whatever there here in Houston. He's from Atlanta. I'm from Houston. So we were trying to out-misery each other when it came to sports franchises. He was all like, how many championships you won, Ugo? I said 2. How many, Corey? I got 1. The Braves. I said, yeah, but what do they always say about the Rockets championships? What do they say, Aaron?
I don't know.
They say the only reason you won the Rockets championships is because Jordan retired.
Oh, okay. All right. I knew that.
Yeah.
I didn't know that's what you were looking for, but yeah, I knew that.
Yeah. And when he came back, he all of a sudden won 3 straight championships. You're like, well, I don't care who's in the league. You win. Those championships are ours. And we are proud of them. So what if we haven't been back in about 25 years? It doesn't matter. They're ours. And we love them.
Dude, it's almost like embarrassing how little I like. The only sport I pay attention to is MMA. And
Oh,
like my best friend in middle school, his dad was Clyde Drexler, and I didn't really
are you
understand
serious?
the significance of that.
His dad was Clyde the Glide Drexler, and you didn't
Yeah,
even freaking care?
yeah, I didn't care. Like he came over to my house one time, and we just played video games and basketball, and his dad came to pick him up. I was just like, man, this guy is so tall, but I really didn't pay attention
You're
to.
a fucking idiot. Man, your dad's really tall.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Oh, Aaron, I don't know what to do with you, man. It's odd. But MMA, yeah.
You saw Rousey get knocked out this weekend?
I did not because I was getting drunk, but I heard about it,
Ooh,
and I saw the 48-second clip that is all it took. I saw that.
it was, but at the same time, what do people expect? Like she hasn't fought in over a year, and if you put her up against that monster Nunez,
But here's my question though. Like you know MMA, I don't know MMA, so I'm just going by like my own logical of how I would logic things, right? Okay. Okay, you're Ronda Rousey. You lost last year, right? It was a pretty, demoralizing loss, all right?
2015.
2000 Oh, you lost 2 years ago now. Okay. So, you have to pick yourself up, go through the pieces and train to get better. Now, that fight against Holly Holm. What is the main reason she lost that fight?
Well, okay. First off, like I don't want to take anything away from Holly Holm.
Yes,
Holm,
no, she outright she deserved that. Yeah.
she was fighting so wise in there. Like her movement was where the problem was. Like she was getting outmaneuvered by Holly Holm. Like she was focusing mostly on striking, and striking isn't really her strong suit. Like she's an Olympic judo player, so I don't know why she was so heavily focused on striking. And you could see the same thing happen in this fight this weekend. She has this striking coach, Edmund Tarver. It sounds like Targaryen, but it's like Targaryen something. And everyone blames him for her losses. Like he's her striking coach, and she's just not up to par on like on the professional level that she should be on. Like she's probably one of the most talented people in the UFC, but like she's like if she doesn't know how to punch properly and move with it, then she's wasting her potential.
But what my question would be is like literally, so basically boxing or striking is the reason why you lost that last match. That is a glaring weakness for you, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So wouldn't you, I'm not saying forget everything else and just work on boxing, but you should get much better at that to show that, oh wow, she's actually been working on it. Did you see, because you saw the fight, and I guess you analyzed it, you're into MMA, did you see her get any better at striking in that fight? Because it looked like she wasn't.
Well, no, I didn't. But at the same time, like, if she wants to working on striking, I don't really think is the solution.
Okay.
Like, she's way too far behind on that front to really rely on that. Like everyone else is light years ahead on striking. She has to be focused more on her grappling, and she needs to stick to what she's good at. Like she's been doing that since she was a little kid. Like she's been doing judo since she was a little kid. She went to the fucking Olympics for judo. So like she's got to just keep doing judo and work on her strong suits. Like because like she's not gonna be winning fights by continuing to try and box with someone. Like no matter how quickly she's picking it up. Like someone like Amanda Nunez or Holly Holm even. Holly Holm is a world boxing champion.
Yeah, no, she was a boxing. Yeah, she was in legitimate like pro boxing before she went to MMA. Yeah.
Yeah, she's not gonna be able to outbox Holly Holm. She has to fight on a different front. And like the person who's teaching her how to box and how to strike is like not teaching her on the level that she needs to be taught on striking, moving, and how to get in and out of the clinch. Like it's just
from what I saw, it seemed like because what I saw, like what Ronda tries to do, she tries to bring you in close to grapple you and take you down type of thing. Yeah. And then what fighters have realized, like, oh, if I keep my distance from her, she's got nothing.
Yeah.
And that's basically that's the Da Vinci Code, if you will, or the skeleton key is like keep Ronda away from you, and you could just keep boxing her until she goes down. And once everyone knew that, like, how would you counter that with her judo skills? How would she counter that?
Well, it would just be finding a way to get inside and like not letting people dance around you. That's the part that I think
Yeah.
she needs to work on. You know, like these people are just like out maneuvering her, like getting in on angles that's like she went to go close the distance in this last fight and she got into a clinch. And Amanda Nunez just strengthed out of it, just used her strength and pushed her away. And that's what she needs to work on. She's gotta get good at not getting danced around on.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, everyone's about hyperbole, like, oh, it's over, oh, it's over, like, she's done. Where do you think she goes from now? Because, I mean, 2 losses, okay, whatever. You're not over, but I mean,
I think the smart thing to do is just get a new team to be a part of. Like I think she's kind of being loyal to a fault. Now, there's her boyfriend, the guy that she's dating right now, Travis
yeah.
Brown. He's another incredibly talented MMA fighter. Like when he entered the heavyweight division, nobody had any idea what to do against him because he could move like crazy. He was so strong and so powerful. But once he got this same striking coach, Edmund Targaryen or whatever,
Targaryen.
like, I know I'm saying that wrong, but
No, you're saying it awesomely right. It's Targaryen. You're saying it awesomely right. I love it.
for the purposes of this conversation, it's Targaryen.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, Travis Brown got this Targaryen coach, and now he sucks. He's just on a losing streak as well. So I mean, she could always quit and retire or do something like that, but she's so talented that would just be a waste of talent. She's got to just get with a new team. And I know she's been talking to John Jones recently, and so there's a rumor that she might join his team and start training with them. But she's just got to get new training partners. Apparently, there's some rumor that she had absolutely no sparring leading up to this fight, which is
Why?
mistake. I have no idea why. There's something weird going on with their training camp. But yeah, I think she just got to get a new
And
team.
also, I don't know if it was like, maybe it was the whole like not talking to media or anything. She just seemed like her head wasn't in the fight. Like, she's just like, I'm doing this for the payday and I'm out of here, which was $3 million fucking dollars. You know,
I completely agree with you. There was something that wasn't there with this fight. Like she was doing no press. Like she didn't talk to anybody before or after. I don't know which never happened to me. Like I know Conor McGregor has made those things where he's not doing press before, but he certainly did press after.
Even with the weigh-in, you know, I know Nunez came in with the whole line mask, yeah, whatever. But it seemed like she just wanted to get on and get off the stage as quick as humanly possible.
Yeah, there might have been a mental component there, but yeah, a lot of it had to have been her training. If she's not training with people who are who are actually trying to fight her, like if she's not sparring, then she's not prepared for a realistic situation.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, that does make sense. But but speaking of heavyweights in the ring and all that, it's a huge heavyweight in the ring.
Who?
Star Wars.
Ooh,
they're a huge movie heavyweight. It's just like Disney being Disney, gotten to get the most out of their stable. As you know, recently they've been getting the most out of their animated stable, turning them into live actions, and all those Disney bitches gotta go get that mouse some money. I can totally see. Can you not see Mickey Mouse in a pimp hat and a pimp coat saying, "You better give me my money, ha ha!" Like kind of thing. That's
absolutely.
That's what he's doing.
I don't know about you, but like I've been a Star Wars fan since I was like 4 or 5 years old. It's like it's the people in my family love Star Wars, so therefore I love Star Wars. So what have you been a fan for a long time?
For me, I've been a fan of Star Wars. I would say probably since, ironically, because this is what happened. I was aware of Star Wars as a child. I was more into like Transformers, like cartoons, right? And then I went to Nigeria when the prequels started. So I wasn't here for the whole prequel thing to get into the prequels. I was in Nigeria.
Oh, did you live in Nigeria?
I lived in Nigeria. I was in boarding school for 2 years from like the beginning of 97 to like the summer of 99. So I was
Okay.
I was in Nigeria at that time, so I wasn't a part of the whole big Star Wars prequels, fan, all the other stuff. So I knew of Star Wars. I knew of the things of Star Wars, but I wasn't a huge Star Wars fan. I didn't become a huge Star Wars fan until during the prequels. I watched the originals. Because remember when the prequels came out, initially people weren't like, "Oh, this is garbage." They were like, "Okay, it's Star Wars, cool, it's pretty cool." So I watched the prequels to watch all that stuff, and then as I got older, and my cognitive reasoning got better. So during my when I got better at understanding movies, I understood how great Star Wars was, and I watched it. I watched it again, and I started becoming a fan honestly around high school and college. Is when I started becoming a Star Wars fan, and I just understood the cultural impact and how it's just weaved into pop culture and how they're just literally just labored breathing has become so iconic.
You're right.
Just labored breathing, labored breathing, lightsabers, like R2D2. R2D2 hasn't said a single word his entire existence, but some people feel that he said more than so many other people have said.
Absolutely. I have a 2-year-old cousin. She can't talk very much. She knows a couple words. Some of the words that she knows Germex, she knows Yoda, and she knows lightsaber. And I'm like, 2 out of 3. That's friggin' awesome.
It's great. It's just the things that we've learned and just gone through our childhood, adulthood, ever since from the 70s and the early 80s, and then again in the 90s, whether the prequels were good or not, and then now again with the resurgence of The Force Awakens and with Rogue One. Have you seen Rogue One?
Absolutely.
Okay. With the resurgence of Rogue One and how that's all gone, we can just see Star Wars is back in full force. It is here to stay. It is engrossed in the culture, and even if we don't have another Star Wars for the rest, of our lives, it's always going to be there. There's going to be references to it, and all that stuff.
I would be so mad if they didn't put another Star Wars out forever. I'm way too hyped right now.
That mouse want his money. You know damn well he's gonna put out so many things.
Gladly. Like I know there's some people out there who don't like the fact that Disney owns Star Wars and Marvel now, and I'm so 100% okay with it because so far they haven't done. They
haven't done anything horrible. And the thing is, the mouse. There's a reason why Disney is such a juggernaut. It's not by sheer luck. They are calculated in everything they do. They are here for the long game. So it's not. So if something starts to get stale or something's not working, they will see that and they'll change it up. Ask Marvel how that's working. It's working out pretty well. Okay.
Yeah. And another cool thing is they seem to be really familiar with the source material, whether that be both Marvel and Star Wars. Like The Force Awakens was loosely based on existing Legends material.
Yeah, like the books, which they've now said are officially non-canon, kind of those novels that came out.
But, yeah, there's a difference between the way George Lucas wanted to do it and the way Disney wanted to do it. And I mean, they didn't go into details, but so far I'm really okay with the way Disney's doing it, and I'm liking it a lot.
Exactly. It's just so great. It brings joy and laughter and excitement to many and all. But Aaron?
Yeah.
I bring you this scenario.
What's up?
What if the initial 1977 release of Star Wars was a flop? What if it came out in theaters in May, and back then there was like maybe 1 or 2 blockbusters a year. It came out, people saw it, and they said, I don't know about this whole space stuff. This is a big old moon-looking thing that shoots things, and they're like sword fighting and some clanky roll. It's just not my thing. And let's say it was a total flop. How do you think that would affect us today, or the world today?
Absolutely significantly. Well, like first off, I think so Jaws was the first summer blockbuster, right?
Yes.
And what really hit that home was the success of Star Wars. Like that really solidified, nailed in the coffin. All right, we're going to have summer blockbusters. That's going to be a thing from now on. And that's really what shapes the movie industry to this day. Like we have, I think this year was the first year in a long time that I've ever been like, I'm not too excited about the summer blockbusters, but like it's been a tremendous part of not not, not just the movie industry, but the entire entertainment industry since then.
Oh yeah, it's shaped how we've made movies and things like that. And of course, whenever something is successful, what is the first thing the industry does? It copies it and runs it into the ground, type of thing.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
and you probably saw so many knockoffs, so many like things that are like Star Wars that maybe didn't make it, and all this other stuff. So, I
and then
mean,
a lot of cool properties that were doing Star Wars, I enjoyed the shit out of them.
yeah,
Like what is it? Spaceballs. What's that? The Fifth Element.
yeah, things like that, and that's more recent stuff. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel that if Star Wars was a flop, then right, I feel
Right.
that Star Wars was such an entity, a mass. I feel if it wasn't there, there would have to be something there to fill the void, right?
Okay.
Something else. Like if that didn't catch on, something else would catch on, type of thing. And as I was doing some of the research I was doing, I was looking at movies that came around the time, like around that 76, 77, 78 era.
Mm.
And of all the movies that I saw, I was researching on Box Office Mojo. That's where I kind of did my research there. There was only two movies that I thought that maybe, if they did successfully, could have taken the place of what Star Wars was. All right.
Which one?
The first one I feel came out, I believe, in 1970. I believe it came out in 1976, the year before. And that movie is Logan's Run.
Okay. I've
Now,
never seen. What's that one about?
Logan's Run, post apocalyptic. Well, not really post apocalyptic, but it's a sort of utopian society, but kind of off, kind of thing. So,
Sorry.
everyone basically there's a jewel in your hand. Like everyone, no one lives to be the age of 30. That there's these people that come after you to harvest your organs and things like that. Like they take you away. So it's all about like a couple, like a guy and a girl. They break away from the whole society to run away from the people trying to catch them, type of thing. It had, because I kind of looked at the movies that were going on at the time. There seemed to be a lot of apocalyptic kind of movies, kind of like Wasteland, you know, things like that. And I think Logan's Run was the most successful out of all of those that came out at that time.
Okay.
So I'm thinking maybe if Logan's Run was so successful, they just went with it. There might have been maybe explore the world of Logan's Run, maybe expand it some more, maybe make a sequel or some type of it or something like that. You know,
Uh huh.
it may have done that. You could kind of see it today. Like, have you ever seen The Island?
No, I haven't.
The Island is pretty much a straight up rip off of Logan's Run. It's with Ewan McGregor and Scarlett Johansson.
Is that
And,
Michael Bay?
yeah, Michael Bay movie.
Is it good?
No, it's not. It's not. It's not very good. But like literally, you watch the movie, it's pretty much a Logan's Run type of thing, just tweaked here and there. And I even think there was some type of lawsuit or something like that when that happened. So it could have been that. There's another movie that came out, I believe, in '78, which ironically right now is being turned into a TV show on ABC. And it was a show. The movie was called Time After Time, and basically the premise of this movie was what's the dude's name who made the time machine? H.G. Wells. Okay, so basically H.G. Wells back in Victoria, London. He wrote the time machine, and he actually made a time machine. And then apparently he was also trying to figure out who was murdering all these prostitutes, and it was Jack the Ripper. Apparently they're trying to figure out who Jack the Ripper was, and apparently Jack the Ripper was his best friend and he didn't know. And then once he found out about it, he took his time machine and went to the future. So basically he has H.G. Wells chasing Jack the Ripper into the future, and it's kind of like a time. He has to go into the future, acclimate himself to the future. And
That sounds awesome.
it does exactly. See what I'm saying?
What is it called?
It's called Time After Time.
Oh man.
It's called Time. I haven't seen the movie. I don't think the movie did very well, but ABC's making it to a TV show. I saw the trailer for it. It kind of looks kind of hokey, and the reason it looks hokey, first of all, they of course, like everything they try to do, I think they try to crowbar a love story into it. And then second, there's a woman there. They go forward into the future to New York, and there's a woman there who she pulls out a gun, and then the guy's all like, "Oh, what do you do with that gun?" And she's like, "Don't worry about it. I'm from Texas." And I'm sitting there like,
"Oh,
are you fucking kidding me?" And the way she said it, I was like, "Fuck you guys."
Dude, so, I feel like they just don't get us, man.
No, they don't. But so the premise of that actually sounded really cool, and maybe it could have been like something time jumping, like, oh, he went to New York, and then he went maybe to the Wild West, and maybe he went to this time period, and maybe went to that time, and it's just him like going around, like changing history, jumping around, like doing stuff like that, you know. I'm thinking that could have filled the void that was Star Wars. But this is actually a pretty like hard and confusing question, because like we talked about before, Star Wars is engrossed in everything. I guarantee you, I bet I was watching TV shows like sitcoms, and I was watching cartoons that had Star Wars references, and I didn't know they were Star Wars references.
Really?
Because remember I told you I didn't really get Star Wars until I was high school. I was watching like a lot of cartoons and stuff. So I bet there were references in movies to Star Wars. Like, I remember watching Muppet Babies when I was younger. Yeah. And I remember specifically, even in the opening sequence of Muppet Babies, I think Miss Piggy or Kermit they're flying in a TIE fighter. And I just thought it was a cool looking spaceship.
That's hilarious.
I had no idea it was a TIE fighter.
Yeah, I bet that happened to a lot of kids. One of my closest friends, he wasn't into Star Wars as a kid either, and he didn't even realize that Toy Story 2, the villain was just a direct copy of Darth Vader. Like,
oh, really? Zurg?
Yeah.
It's just stuff like that. It's just like the subtle stuff. Like you wouldn't without Star Wars, you wouldn't have the greatness that is Spaceballs. I mean, Spaceballs is awesome on its own, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, but it's entirely a Star Wars parody.
Exactly, and then just stuff like that. Like, I was also thinking maybe, just maybe, because I think that year or the next year, Battlestar Galactica started. Now, I don't know, I guess the Battlestar Galactica nerds would know, but not a lot of people know this. Battlestar Galactica actually premiered as like a 2-hour movie before the TV show started. So it premiered in theaters, I think in Canada or some select places, and then later that fall, it was on TV. And as we all know, Battlestar Galactica, it was a huge success with the Starbuck and all that, to the point they rebooted on the Sci-Fi Channel a few years ago.
Okay.
So yeah, like maybe would it be like Battlestar Galactica? Would have been the thing? Would it be instead of stormtroopers, it was Xylons? I mean, I don't know.
Maybe, but like I don't think that Battlestar Galactica would have made the same cultural impact like that Star Wars would have. Just because Star Wars wasn't just it didn't just make a cultural impact. It made a colossal filmmaking impact.
It did. Like George, his effects and everything stepped his game up, stepped everyone's game up. Yeah, you're right.
Like Star Wars was the first film that it was a film that created industrial lights and magic and Skywalker sound, and they made THX Dolby surround specifically for Star Wars.
And I think honestly, they're the only game in town. Every time I watch like a big budget movie, at the end, it's always ILM Skywalker. It's like they're the only ones that do sound. I think. I don't.
And you can tell when there's a movie that didn't use ILM.
Oh yeah, you'll know.
You can tell. You're like, oh,
that is an indie budget.
Yeah.
That is Gary in his garage made this noise.
Yeah. I feel like I feel like there would be that need for a romanticized like space opera.
Yeah.
And one thing that I think that would have taken its place is actually the source material for Star Wars.
True.
So Star Wars is actually based on the DC universe.
Is it? I thought Star Wars. No, wait a minute. I thought Star Wars. I think it's only R2D2 and C3PO were based on like two samurai or something like that, right?
Well, what it is it's a copy of. So, are you familiar with the DC universe at all?
Yes. Yes. Oh, yeah. If you see one of our former podcasts, me and my other co-host Alex went into full depth about the DC universe for about 45 minutes.
Okay, perfect. So, are you familiar with the New Gods?
Yes, on New Genesis and Apocalypse and the deal they made. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So, Orion was supposed to be the basis for Luke Skywalker. And he was supposed to fight his evil father, Darkseid. So Darkseid was the original inspiration for Darth Vader.
Oh, I can totally see that. Yeah.
The evil father.
Yeah, I can totally see that. Yeah. No, that actually makes sense though.
And I think for a time, the author of the New Gods, I forget his name, he was trying to sue George Lucas for it, but I forgot what happened in the long run.
They probably settled out or something like that. I mean, but like we were talking, me and Alex were talking about that before. Like DC's kind of screwed over a lot of people. So I mean,
are you talking about like in their movies or like
in just anything they do, like what they'll do, like if you. And on the podcast before, we were talking about the CW on Arrow and all that stuff and how they're bringing in some villains. And what they did is they brought in one of the villains, but they changed the villain just enough that they didn't have to give royalties to the creator of the villain.
Oh, that's...
Yeah. Stuff like that, you know. So it's kind of like, you know, it's just, it's some shady stuff that just happens there. And it's just so really, really unfortunate.
It's fair that they got ripped off of by George Lucas.
I mean, yeah. So I mean, that happens there. And I mean, yeah, like you said, like although we know crazy old George Lucas kind of went off his rocker in the 90s and 2000s, he did give us some of the greatest characters we've ever seen.
Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say he went off his rocker. Like the success of Star Wars to begin with was, I think it had mainly to do with the special effects and like the mystery behind it. Like I think the only reason that people really liked it for what it was is it was just something so visually and like audibly astounding, something that they were so not used to.
Yeah.
And and it was marketed to children as well.
Yeah.
So you have an entire generation coming up with this thing that they saw when they were kids. And like, when we grow up to be adults, we're like, oh yeah, I know it's a stupid movie, but it's when I'm a kid, it's lightsabers, it's lasers, robots, explosions, magic. It's awesome.
Yeah, especially that third one with all the Ewoks.
Yeah.
Oh.
Like as a kid, I definitely got a kick out of Jar Jar Binks.
You're racist.
I was 12. Dude, it didn't even occur to me until I was an adult how racist some of those aliens were. And the Trade Federation aliens, Asian, like
so awful Asian, man. It was all.
It didn't even occur to me. But that's the thing, like, since it was marketed to kids, you grow up and you're into all the toys, and he made like a merchandising machine out of it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It was marketed so brilliantly. And so him in the future, like, making just adding different stuff to the originals and just making prequels that were based mostly on special effects and very little character. It's not that out of character for George Lucas, because that's exactly what he did in the first movies. And it's just now there's adults who when they saw the originals when they were kids, as adults they're just realizing, oh yeah, these are actually stupid movies. My child, like as an adult now, like I look back at the Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, and I'm like, has George Lucas ever talked to a woman before? Like, this is horrible. But at the same time, like, I'll watch it every time it's on TV.
Like, I think I rewatched it before, and the first one I was like, okay, the first one's not awful. It's okay. Attack of the Clones, man, dude. The minute
Dude,
Hayden
this
Christensen steps
fucking
on the screen, it's awful.
man, that guy sucked so much. Not like he made me dislike Darth Vader. It was like I don't even want to see him become Darth Vader. And I'd already seen the movie before. I saw it when I was a kid, and then I saw it recently, and I was like, gosh, I just want to fast forward every scene that he's in. But that's the genius with the marketing behind it, because I bought a bunch of those toys. Darth Maul had like 3 lines, and he was my favorite fucking character.
Darth Maul. I think they made up for that in Rogue One, because they had a really badass scene with Darth Vader. You're just like, oh yeah, this is why you should be afraid of him.
Yes, and like Rogue One was just so well made, but I think like one of my problems with the way Disney is handling it, and I've noticed with the Marvel films as well, is I just feel like they're playing it entirely too safe. Like they're not taking enough risks with it. And I mean, obviously, you look over at what the DC cinematic universe is doing, and they're taking way too many risks and messing the whole thing up.
There's a difference between taking a risk and just not doing something right.
Yeah.
There's a difference, and DC's just not doing it right.
Yeah, exactly, actually. You're right.
Because really, Doctor Strange was a risk. Guardians of the Galaxy was a risk. Doing Rogue One was a risk. But you have to calculate said risk. Now, it's not like something like, well, they're going to have like a love story steampunk Star Wars or something like that. No, not like all the way out there in left field, but they're at least like, pushing the boundaries type of thing. Like, I honestly think the Han Solo movie is going to be like a goofy buddy comedy movie. Yeah, fucking Donald Glover is Lando Calrissian. Oh, fuck yeah, it better be a buddy comedy.
Oh, I forgot about that. That's going to be great. I'm so happy that's happening.
Yeah, exactly.
Donald Glover is going to be great in there.
Yeah, exactly.
With Disney, do you think we'll ever see with Disney taking the helm on Star Wars? Do you think we'll ever see a rated R Star Wars?
Oh boy, that's man, I don't. Right. So before we were just so rudely interrupted by
difficulties,
technology and all that. I guess we were saying just the great impact that just Star Wars has had in all our lives and everyone's lives around us.
Yeah, I think we left off on. Did you ever? Do you ever think you'd see a rated R Star Wars?
Rated R. That's right. Would I ever see a rated R Star Wars? I'm going to say no. As long as Disney owns it, I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
Because although Disney wants as much money as they possibly can, and it's a credit to Disney, they're always going to stay true to the whole, we have to let kids in here, and if we put an R on that, we won't be able to do that.
Yeah, I think you're right. Have they ever done a rated R property?
They have, but this is how Disney does it, which is hilarious. How Disney does that is they don't call it Disney. They call it Touchstone Pictures.
Oh.
So anything that's called Touchstone Pictures is a Disney movie, but they don't call it Disney. But Disney gets all the money from it because it's Touchstone Pictures.
Okay. Oh, and they also did the Netflix stuff with
the Netflix
Daredevil,
series.
Luke.
Yeah, the
Jessica
Netflix series,
Jones.
so if they do stuff like on streaming, which again, there's rumors that Disney's trying to buy Netflix, but we'll see what happens with all that.
That would be wild.
It would be crazy. So yeah, so that's all I have with the Star Wars and how it would affect and everything. So you have anything else to say? Anything you want to add on there?
No. I think Star Wars is something that we just it's a once in a lifetime thing, and by once in a lifetime, I was like, I don't think you can replicate the kind of impact that it made. Like, life would be significantly different. I think other properties would try to fill in the void, but I don't think that they'd be successful in doing it because of the fact that it was just so unique and so ahead of its time when it came out.
Yeah, and I think it'll be here for for years to come, where our kids and our kids' kids will probably be talking about, like, I remember when Zany Skywalker fought his great grandpa Luke, and it'll be something stupid like that. I
Oh,
don't fucking
for
know.
sure. I'm going to take my kids to see every one of them.
Absolutely, man. So, Aaron, where could we find you online?
You can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/a baron named Aaron. Um, you can find me on Snapchat under Easy Varghese. And yep, that's about it.
And as you guys all know, I'm putting this on SoundCloud. If you look on SoundCloud, just look up the What If Cast. I'm also in the weeks to come, I think I'm going to be putting this up on YouTube. And once I do put it up on YouTube, probably on our next episode, I'll tell you on the YouTube page. I'll probably put it up as the What If Podcast channel. But if you want to send us what if questions, that is what fuels the show. That is what sparks conversation. You can send us an email at thewhatifcast@gmail.com. If emails are too complicated for you and you like to send me stuff in 160 characters or less, you can send it to me on Twitter at _whatifcast. And you can also find us on Facebook. Just search for What If Podcast. So there's so many ways to find me. SoundCloud, What If Cast, my email, thewhatifcast@gmail. So get at me. We need all the what if scenarios. So like I said, I'm Ugo. This is my buddy here, Aaron. And until next time, guys, this is us signing off from the What If Podcast. Say bye, Aaron.
Bye, guys. Thank you so much for having me.